Hey guys, this is Kyle at ProjectionHub, and today I'm going to be showing you how to write a business plan for a spa. So if you're planning on starting a spa, potentially acquiring a spa, and you're going to need financing for that or fundraising for that, or maybe you're just planning, this video is for you. And so, what we're going to be doing primarily is demonstrating the whole structure of a business plan, but then I'm going to cover the 5 key points that I think make the business plan the most lender ready as it can be. Now, what background do I have to be able to talk about this? That's a great question. So before my time with ProjectionHub, I was an SBA loan officer for almost 7 years. And so my time there was spent packaging loan requests, reviewing business plans, reviewing financial projections, basically helping the startups and the business owners through that process. And during my time there, had a chance to work with many different spas and med spas and things of that nature through that process and reviewing their applications and what worked well and what didn't work well. And want to try to share that experience today with you. And then ProjectionHub has helped more than 50,000 small businesses create financial projections for their loan applications, their pitch decks, you name it. And so a good chunk of those have been people opening spas using some of our tools and products to do that. And so we know a little bit about the spa process and the business plan. So if at any point during today's video you enjoy the content, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps us as a fellow small business. And consider subscribing to the channel. Not all of our content is for spas, but a lot of our content is for just general business purposes and securing loans and all of that kind of stuff. And if at any point you have any questions, contact us at support@projectionhub.com or leave a comment in the video below. We will certainly get with you and help you on that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into how to write a business plan for a spa. All right, here we have a free business plan for a spa. So you can get this actual template down in the description below, this exact one that I'm going to use. And what we're going to do is I'm going to walk through the whole business plan, and I'm going to talk about the structure of the business plan and what's included in the business plan. And then as I mentioned in the intro, we're really going to cover the 5 key points that I think are the most important, especially for if you want to get a loan for your startup spa, and how to really make those parts shine so you give yourself the best chance. So the whole business plan is important, but I'm going to go through it, and when we get to those key areas, I'll stop and do some demonstrations and talk about some examples and how you can apply those to your business plan. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into it. And before I get too far into this, let's talk a little bit about why is your business plan important. I don't mean to sound cliche, mainly because you were asked to have a business plan, so maybe that's why it's important. But the purpose of your business plan isn't to explain the spa industry or how spas work to your lender. They likely are familiar with the business model, but rather what makes your spa special and what makes your spa able to repay the loan and be successful. So what we put into here, yes, there's some minimum requirements, and I'll highlight those that you just need to have in your business plan. But your business plan, right off the bat, when you look at this table of contents, is you notice it's not 50 pages long. I actually think that the opposite is true. Now, you don't want to have a 5-page business plan, but you'll see this length here, right? So the anecdotal part, we're looking at like 7 pages, 9 pages. And then the financial projections kind of take up the rest of the business plan. So it's short and sweet, and we want to jam-pack this thing full of the most important strengths and details about our business plan to give us the best chance. And so don't sweat on making a really, really long business plan, because I think the important details kind of get muddy. They get lost in the details, and we want to make sure the important details shine in your business plan. All right, so let's go ahead and start going through things here. First of all, we got the executive summary. I want you to think about the executive summary as kind of like the cover letter to a job application, or a cover letter to a resume for your job application. So this is kind of like your 1-pager covering some details. We've got an overview, so brief 1-paragraph description of the spa, some objectives, we have a mission statement, and some keys to success. So, I guess you could say your goal should be not to make anything sound generic. Make sure everything has a purpose that's in your business plan. This is a fictitious example, so it's not going to be the most groundbreaking, but it should help provide you the structure. So do this. This is important. I think one thing that might be missing here that some businesses choose to do is have some financial highlights. So that could be estimated revenue, when they estimate breaking even, how much funding they're going to need, what sources do they want to have the funding. So you could consider adding that in there as well. 2 is the company description. This is really just an extension of the executive summary, but a little bit more of the like technical details here. So, the founder story, essentially you can include what's the legal structure. Unique selling proposition, I would include like what actually does make your spa unique. Is there a thing that you're going to be providing that only a few spas are offering that in the state, or, definitely highlight exactly what makes you unique. If it's a specific type of spa services that you're providing, include that in here. And if it's like your unique selling proposition is the experience, talk about what actually makes the experience that much greater than a different spa. And then you got a quick overview of the target market. All right, moving forward to market analysis, and this is going to bring, you can see key point number 1 down here. But before I get to that, let's just talk about what's in the section. So a little overview of the industry. So this is meaning like the local industry, the addressable market, not like the Shark Tank, the spa industry is a $3 trillion industry. Like, talk about realistically the actual overview of the industry as you know it, the market as you know it. Competitor analysis, here you should name names. So depending upon the size of your city or where you're located is going to change the size of the like competitiveness, right? So in this example, we talk about in Indianapolis, that's where I live, where we're based. And so a lot of around Indianapolis, even though it's the biggest city in Indiana, it's a little bit more spread out, right? So I might say in Indianapolis, you should know the name of every competitor within a 10-mile radius or something like that, right? If you live in a much more densely populated city, you might shrink that a little bit, or, so think about that. How far is someone willing to travel for your type of service in your market? And then however far that is, you should know every single one of your competitors, direct and indirect. More importantly, direct. So the people offering overlapping services and experiences as you. Indirect might be, like, this is a good example, like a gym that also has some spa facilities is more of an indirect competitor. So list the top 2 or 3 competitors you think by name, what they do well, what they aren't doing well. Like, maybe they have really terrible Google reviews, and that's an opportunity to, like, because they have terrible, service, right? And that's a chance to have like an opportunity. So talk about that in your competitor analysis, but also be realistic about what they do really well and what would be hard to compete with them on maybe. Again, more information about the target market itself, like the demographics of the market, maybe their income level, like different things you want to include, like your target price level. And then the opportunities, again, potential opportunities to grow in the market. So maybe that means the market's underserved, or maybe there is competition, but the people who are there are not doing, a very good job. And so that gives you a large opportunity. But then key points. So what is really going to make this section good is actually demonstrating real examples of the fact that there is room in the market for the business. Now, maybe an obvious way to do that I wouldn't necessarily recommend would be like a market research study. Like, you could hire someone to do a bunch of research on foot traffic and the competitors and all of that kind of stuff. And that's certainly one way to do it, but that's not going to be super cheap. I'm not recommending you do that, but that does represent an example of a really good version of market analysis. So there are free ways to do that, better ways to do that. There are ways to do something like that without doing nothing, is what, in essence, what I'm trying to tell you to do. So let me give you one free example. And again, we've got some examples down here. Local survey, evaluating your competitors. So like when I was saying evaluate your competitors and show what they do well, what they don't do well, that's a good way to do that, right? Show some Google reviews, their ratings, how popular are they on socials, that kind of stuff. And then another thing you could do is, this is a free tool. So if you create a free Google AdWords account, you can go to tools and then up here to keyword planner. And this is a way to simulate how often are people searching for specific keywords in a specific place. So I've set my location to Fishers, Indiana. That's like a suburb outside of Indianapolis. It's a very affluent area. And I want to see how often are people searching spa near me. Okay, so there's a couple of important things this is going to show us. One, it's going to show us the number of estimated monthly searches, which I think is important. It's going to show us some keyword ideas. So if there's specific types of spa services or massage services or whatever, you can kind of see trends for those. But the most important thing this tool I think shows is the trend data. So we see 3-month change and then more importantly, year-over-year change. And so the reason why I'm showing you how to do this is let's see year-over-year in this area. Spa near me, down 19% year-over-year, right? So the market is contracting a little bit as it relates to that search term. But let's see down here. Med spa up 75%. So have you considered maybe is the med spa more of an opportunity in the market? Saunas are up. Couples massage is up. Massage places way up. Massage therapy up. Body massage up. Deep tissue massage up. So even though maybe just general spa is down, it looks like things related to a spa are up. And so this is a way to demonstrate, demand essentially. One thing that this doesn't demonstrate is supply, right? So the fact that all these people are year over year, people are searching for relevant search terms more means that there are more people looking for the services that you're going to provide. What this doesn't necessarily demonstrate is how well they're being served or if there's enough people serving them, if that makes sense. So, but again, this is the market analysis section. So that is analyzing the market, right? If we talk about the competitors and the people providing the services, and then we also talk about that there's growth in the market for people looking for those services, that makes this section sound a whole lot better than just text, because that gives you're actually teaching your lender something in that regard, right? You're not teaching them what a spa is, but you're showing them, here's the state of the spa in this market that I'm going to be trying to start in. Okay, moving forward. So that was key point number 1. Marketing and sales strategy is next. So you're going to talk about your specific service offerings. So list their prices. Again, you can have pricing strategies. So are you going to try to be the low cost provider? Are you going to try to be luxury? Your sales strategy, which is probably relatively straightforward, but talk about, again, there's a good example there. So I'm not going to go into great detail on that. You're going to talk about, you're going to post on socials, you're going to have a website, you're going to maybe do mailings or paid promotions or whatever. That's great. That's a minimum requirement. You need to have all that stuff. Key point number 2, much like key point number 1, is we're going to go a step above and we're going to demonstrate how we're actually going to acquire our customers or demonstrate what's called traction. Now, traction is kind of a tech phrase about what kind of momentum, pre-launch momentum can we demonstrate. The 2 best examples of traction are 1, pre-launch sales, like you're making money before the doors open, or 2, like names on a list, like interest list. These will demonstrate to your lender that you're not just waiting until the doors open to be like, all right, let's get started, right? You're taking the initiative to ensure the success of the business or a higher likelihood of success because you're getting after it. So what are examples of that? Well, that's a good question. We've got some examples here. I like 1 and 3. Example 1, launch a pre-opening online campaign and offer essentially like early bird discounts. So maybe like a pre-launch founders club, and anyone that signs up for the first year, they get a discount on massage services as long as they activate it within the first 30 days of launching or something like that, right? If you get a bunch of people signed up for that list, that's a way you can say to your lender, like, we've already got 1,500 people on this list, which means that they're expressing interest in coming and using our services in the first month and will return throughout the first year. That's a good example of customer acquisition demonstration because you can actually say a number of interested people. 3 is start by offering in-home spa services as a side gig or a separate thing to build some clientele and experience. Form relationships with other massage therapists or service providers that you're going to be providing that may be willing to come join you and bring their clientele. That's another example of customer acquisition demonstration. It's like you're already doing the work to build a little bit of income. Maybe it's not a ton of income, but you're still doing it, right? Include those things. That is going to mean a lot to your lender because, again, you're not just saying build it and people will come. It's like you are doing the work to ensure that you're going to be acquiring customers. Okay. Another example of this could be like maybe you start some social channels and you start building some hype and some interest and you talk about how many followers you've gained and all of that kind of stuff. That has meaning. All right, moving along, operations and management. So this is where you're getting more into like the actual logistics of the spa itself. Again, everything in here is important, but key point number 3 is relevant industry experience. So a big red flag to a lender is going to be if you don't know what you're getting yourself into and they don't feel confident that you know what you're doing. So we really want to make sure that we leave no doubt that we are prepared and know what we're doing. And so let's say you have all the experience you need to start your own spa and run your own spa. Maybe you've managed a spa or worked in a spa for a long time and you're ready to do it. Outline your experience in great detail to make sure that they know that. Also communicate that to your loan officer during the process. But let's say you don't have all the experience you need to launch a spa, but you are still really interested and passionate about starting a spa. You need to supplement your experience and your skill set with other skill sets. So maybe that's a partner in the business, or that could be a key employee or a manager. So you want to make sure either on your own or collectively, you have the skill sets necessary to be successful in communicating that to your lender, your loan officer. All right, moving along here. Okay, now to the most important section and kind of the big boy here is financial projections. So you can see we've got a breakdown of startup costs. We've got a breakdown of some high-level financial line items. So these are projections, revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, net income. Got some breakdown of some different key ratios, monthly expenses, and then we've got pro forma or projected financial statements for an income statement of 5 years, cash flow projections, break-even analysis, and then you should also have balance sheet included, which I don't know if this example has that one, but we should add that in here. And this is usually the point where business owners like start to get really nervous or overwhelmed or their eyes glaze over. Stick with me, okay? Shameless plug. That was created using this template. Now, before I lose you, there's 3 different ways you can make projections. 1, you can pay an accountant to do them. It's going to be pretty expensive. That is an option though. 2, you could do them yourself from scratch. Going to be very difficult to do if you don't have a background in accounting, especially to make them reliable and trustworthy. 3, you get a template, a reliable template to fill out. And that's what I'm demonstrating here. This was built by a CPA on our staff. Again, we've helped more than 50,000 small businesses create their projections, so you can believe in this and you can do it. I believe strongly that anyone can fill these out. You're just filling out these blue tabs, right? With important information about your business, nothing crazy. This is really zoomed in, sorry. Talk about your customer acquisition. Here's just a breakdown of like your services, costs, how long those services last for, right? So we're only touching these blue cells. Some employee pay, the cost of your product, that kind of stuff. Your monthly expenses, and any salaried employees and ownership pay. And then the template's going to do the rest. Automatically, it's going to calculate all these charts and financial statements in both annual and monthly detail. And you can grab those, put those in your business plan, and also just provide these projections. I promise you it's going to save you so much time. I've linked that in the description below. Also, if you stick with me to the end of the video, I'll give you a discount code. So key point number 4 is not having financial projections. You have to have financial projections. That's not the key point. Key point number 4 is realistic financial projections. And that's making sure, they're within industry norms and, they're, like I mentioned, they are realistic. And you might be wondering, well, how am I supposed to know if they're realistic? And it's a really basic answer. So you have your projections. You've got a lot of key numbers here. Do something like, so let's say, profit, right? So we can go typical profit margin for a spa. So you can do Google searches. If you're comfortable with tools like ChatGPT or something like that, you could do that as well. But we see profit margins fall within the 5 to 20%, right? So let's go back and look at our projections. And again, you can click on the links, find the links you think are trustworthy. Profit margin, right? First year's a loss. It's always a wash. It's probably going to be a loss in the first year. Break even happens in 2026, and then you see this number start to grow. 10%, 11%, right? So our projections are a little conservative, which I don't think is a bad thing, to be on the conservative side rather than way over assuming your income. But that's a really good practice when you're making your projections, and you're benchmarking the cost of your services and the price of your services, and just making sure that your projections are rooted in reality, so that your lender's not going to have like the perfect manual of all the numbers, but they are going to have a resource that gives them some benchmarks, and they're going to be familiar with the projections. And so you want to make sure you've done your homework, that those projections look dialed in. If you use our template, we offer free support and a free review. So and we will help you kind of benchmark those. So that's an example. All right, that brings us to the end of the business plan, but there's one more key point. And you're probably not going to put this in your business plan, but if you're getting a loan, this is really important to be aware of, especially if you're a startup. And that is, be prepared to demonstrate skin in the game. And the best way maybe to describe skin in the game is kind of like your mutual sharing in the risk. If you're asking for a loan, your lender is choosing if they want to take a risk or not. If they think that they're going to get their money back, basically, in the return, the interest that you're going to pay for it. And so they want to see that you have something to lose, essentially, right? That you just can't close up shop and then move on with your life and you're ready to go. They don't want to take everything from you, but they just want to know that you're committed. And so think about this as like, if you're going to buy a house, for simplicity's sake, let's say it's a $100,000 house. The lender's not going to give you $100,000. They're going to give you, maybe $80,000 or $90,000, and you're going to put in the rest of that. So you're going to have an investment. That's one thing to be prepared for, that skin in the game. The other versions of skin in the game are going to be your personal guarantee. So a lot of people think that they can keep the business and the personal separate. That's great advice when it comes to bank accounts and bookkeeping. Unrealistic advice when it comes to getting a loan. You will be personally guaranteeing the loan. Anyone over a 20% ownership will be guaranteeing the loan. And then, collateral is another example. Spas probably don't have a ton of collateral to fully collateralize a loan unless you're buying the building with the loan. So if there's a collateral shortfall, you're going to be, asked if you have any personal collateral to pledge. So I encourage you to be prepared to know what you are willing to offer as collateral. If that's a free and clear vehicle, if that's a second mortgage on a house. It's an uncomfortable thing, and I'm not saying you have to just give all that away, for free, but just be prepared. That will save you time when the lender approaches you and says, hey, we're interested in the deal. We just need to get, to the right point for collateral. We think that the business is a little short on collateral, and you can say, well, I have this that I'm willing to offer. Does that help? And just knowing that will speed things up quite a bit. So just know what you're willing to give and what you're not, and what you'd be comfortable walking away from if that's the decision maker. So encourage you just to be prepared for that. A lender might ask for a cosigner. I would encourage you beforehand to go and talk to people and nail down who your cosigner would be in the event you would need one, rather than having to scramble and find one. So that's a demonstration of skin in the game. Don't put that in your business plan, but keep that in your back pocket whenever you're going through that process. And there you have it. That's how to write a spa business plan. As promised, let me grab you the promo code if you are interested in the projection template. Coming back up here, PH20BP will get you 20% off. Again, we have a full video walkthrough how to create the projections. Grab this link to this free business plan. It's down in the description below, as well as the template, the projection template. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you'd like. Contact us at support@projectionhub.com if you have any questions at all, or leave us a comment on the video. We'd be happy to help you that way too. And I wish you the best of luck. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.